I want you to picture a single $20 bill, not a stack of them, just one, folded once and tucked into a shirt pocket, or knotted into the corner of a handkerchief, or pressed flat under the lining of a pocketbook the way your grandmother used to carry her money. In the year 1955, that one bill was a serious thing. A man could walk out the door with that 20 and feed his family, fill his tank, take his sweetheart to the pictures, and still walk back home with change jingling in his pocket. One bill. And I sat down a while back and I did the honest math on it, side by side, what that 20 bought in 1955 against what the very same 20 buys you today in 2026. And I will tell you, some of these you will see coming. But there is one of them near the end, where the number falls so far, so fast, that when I first lined it up, I sat back in my chair and just shook my head. I will get to it, but not yet. Let it sit in the back of your mind as we walk through this together. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, find your good chair, the one that fits you just right, and settle in with me a while, because we are going to take that one $20 bill and spend it twice. Once in 1955, slow and careful the way they did it then, and once today in the world you and I actually live in now. 12 things, side by side, one at a time. And along the way I am going to share the little tricks and habits that made that money stretch, the kind of honest old wisdom you can still carry right into your own week and put real dollars back in your own pocket. And while you are settling in, do an old fellow a kindness. Tell me down in the comments where you grew up and what a $20 bill meant in your house when you were young. Was it grocery money? Was it tucked away for an emergency that you prayed would never come? I would dearly love to know, because every one of those bills carried a whole life folded up inside it. Now, let us spend that 20 for the first time back in 1955. Number 1. Groceries. A bag of groceries. In 1955, you could walk into the market with a $5 bill, just a quarter of our 20, and walk out with your arms full. A loaf of bread for around 18 cents, a quart of milk for about a quarter, a dozen eggs for 60 cents or so, a pound of coffee for under $1, hamburger for around 40 cents a pound. I can still smell that store, the wooden floors swept clean and just a little oiled, the butcher in his white apron wrapping the meat in brown paper and tying it with a length of string he pulled from a spool hanging over the counter. There was a coffee grinder near the front, and when he poured the beans in and turned it on, that rich, dark smell filled the whole place. The cans were stacked in neat pyramids, the produce was piled in wooden crates with the dirt of the field still on it, and the grocer himself would come around the counter and ask after your mother by name. There were no impulse aisles built to trip you up, no bright packages shouting from every shelf, no music piped in to keep you wandering. You came with your list, he helped you fill it, and you went home. $5 filled a sack so heavy your mother needed both arms to carry it to the car, or onto the bus, or simply down the block to home. Today you hand the cashier that same $5 bill and you get, what? A loaf of bread, maybe, a half-gallon of milk if you are lucky. You will not fill a sack. You will barely fill a small paper bag, and you will feel a little foolish carrying it out. Here is the takeaway, the part you can use tomorrow. They shopped to a list, written in pencil, and they bought ingredients, not products. Flour and sugar and beans and rice, the cheap lasting things, and they made 100 meals from them. Buy the raw stuff, cook it yourself, and you claw back more of that grocery dollar than any coupon ever gave you. Number 2. Gasoline. Oh, this one stings. And you knew it would. In 1955, gas ran about 23 cents a gallon, 23 pennies. With part of our 20, say $3, you could buy yourself near 13 gallons, and a young man would pull into the service station, and a bell would ding as your tires rolled over the hose, and a fellow in a clean uniform and a bow tie and a little cap would come running out before you even had your window down. He would pump your gas, lift the hood and check your oil, wipe down your windshield front and back with a clean rag, and check the air in your tires, all of it, and hand you a free road map if you asked, and maybe a set of drinking glasses or a little gift for filling the tank, because the stations gave those away to win your business, and he thanked you with a smile when he was done, and called you sir, and waved you off into the road. 13 gallons would carry that family clear across the state and back. Today you pull up to the pump, you swipe your own card, you pump your own gas in the cold, nobody comes out, nobody says a word, and $3 buys you, well, you have watched the numbers spin. Less than a single gallon in most of the country. The takeaway here is gentle, because none of us can change the price at the pump, but we can drive the way they did. Steady, unhurried. One trip to town that does 5 errands instead of 5 trips that do 1. They plan their driving the way they plan their meals, and a planned trip is a paid-for trip. Number 3, a night at the picture show. Here is a sweet one. In 1955, a movie ticket cost about 50 cents. 2 of you could go for $1, and for another quarter you split a big bag of popcorn and a couple of cold sodas. So out of our 20, $1.50, maybe $2, bought a whole evening of romance for 2 people. The lights would dim, the great curtain would pull back, and for 2 hours you were carried clean away to somewhere wonderful, your girl's hand in yours, the whole world shut outside those doors, and it was a whole evening, mind you, not just the one picture. There was a newsreel first, and a cartoon, and sometimes a second feature, so you got 2 shows for your 50 cents, and sat there happy in the dark till near supper time. The usher walked the aisles with his flashlight, the velvet seats folded down with a soft thump, and the smell of that fresh popcorn drifted back from the lobby and made your mouth water before the picture even started. Folks dressed up to go, too. A man wore a clean shirt and a woman wore her good dress, because going to the pictures was an occasion worth looking your best for. Today, 2 tickets to the picture show will run you $25, $30 before you have bought a single thing, and then a tub of popcorn and 2 drinks can cost you more than the tickets did. Your whole 20 would not get 2 people through the door and fed. The takeaway. The joy was never really in the spending. It was in the sitting close, the shared bag of popcorn, the walk home talking it all over. You can still have that for almost nothing. A bowl of popcorn popped on your own stove, a good old picture on the television, and the person you love beside you. That has not gone up in price 1 penny. Number 4, a meal out at the diner. In 1955, you could slide into a booth at the diner and the whole family could eat for a few dollars. A blue plate special, meatloaf and mashed potatoes and gravy and a vegetable, ran you around $1. A hamburger was 15, 20 cents. A cup of coffee was a nickel, and the waitress in her crisp apron would fill it again and again and never charge you for the second cup or the third. A slice of pie was a quarter, and it was real pie, made that morning in the back, the crust flaky and the fruit still tasting of summer. Oh, that diner! The chrome shining, the red vinyl stools that spun, the little jukebox at every booth where a nickel bought you a song, the cook flipping eggs on the griddle right there in front of you, the coffee in a thick white china cup, the milkshake brought to you in the tall metal cup it was mixed in so you got the extra that would not fit in the glass. The waitress knew the regulars and their orders before they sat down, and she called everybody honey, and the whole place hummed with talk and the clink of forks. $5 of our 20 fed the whole family a hot supper with pie to finish. Today you sit down at a diner and 1 plate, just one, runs you $15 or $18, and the coffee is $3 a cup, and the bill for a family of 4 with a tip can run you past $80. Your whole 20 might feed 1 person. The takeaway, and I say it kindly, eating out was a treat then, not a habit. The everyday meals were made at home around a table, and that is exactly why the diner felt so special when you did go. Make eating out the exception again, and 2 good things happen. Your money lasts, and the treat feels like a treat once more. Number 5, a pair of shoes or a shirt off the rack. In 1955, a sturdy pair of leather work shoes cost around $8 or $9. and they were built to be resold and worn for years, not tossed in a season. A nice cotton dress shirt was $2 or $3. A child's whole school outfit could be put together for under our 20, and it would last, handed down to the next child when the first one grew out of it. I remember shoes being half soled at the cobbler's, the smell of the leather and the polish, the little man tapping in the nails with his mouth full of them, the heel built back up good as new for a quarter. A boy got one good pair for school and one for Sunday, and he was taught to wipe them off at the door and polish them on Saturday night so they shone for church. Clothes were mended, not tossed. A mother kept a button tin and a darning egg, and a sock with a hole in the toe was darned up by lamplight while the radio played, not thrown in the bin. A worn collar on a man's shirt was turned and sewn back so the shirt lived another year. Today that same 20 might buy you one shirt, and a decent pair of leather shoes runs you $80, $100, and half of what is sold now is made to fall apart so you will come back and buy it again. The takeaway: buy well, buy once, and mend what you have. A needle and thread and a little patience will keep a good shirt going for years, and a good pair of shoes, kept polished and resoled, will outlast 3 of the cheap ones. The old way was not about having little, it was about having good and keeping it. Now, before we go on, I want you to feel something. We are not even halfway down this list, and already you can see it, can't you? That same $20 bill that bought a week of living in 1955 barely covers a single afternoon today. Hold on to that feeling, because we are getting closer to that one item I promised you, the one where the number falls so far it tells the whole story. We are almost there. And if you are nodding along, if these old prices are stirring up the smell of your own childhood, then let me ask you, quietly, no fuss, to tap that subscribe button down there. We are a gentle bunch here, folks who remember, folks who still believe the old ways had something worth keeping. You belong with us, and I would hate for you to miss the next story. Now back to our 20. Number 6. A haircut and a shave. In 1955, you walked into the barber shop, settled into that big chair, and a haircut cost about $1, maybe $1.25. For a little more, you got a hot towel and a straight razor shave, the brush working up the lather in the mug, the quiet talk, the smell of the tonic. The barber pole turned its red and white stripe out front, and inside there was the snip of the scissors, the buzz of the clippers, the slap of the razor being stropped on that long leather strap. The men waited their turn, reading the newspaper or arguing good-naturedly about the ball game, and a boy getting his first real haircut would sit up on a board laid across the arms of that big chair so he was high enough to reach. There was a jar of combs in blue liquid, a row of bottles of tonic and bay rum on the shelf, and a stack of magazines worn soft from 100 hands. It was the kind of place where a man could sit a spell and feel like he belonged somewhere. $1. Out of our 20, you could get the whole family's heads tended and still have most of the bill left. Today, a basic haircut runs you $25, $35, and a proper barber shave is a luxury most folks have never even had. Your whole 20 would not quite cover one good cut with a tip. The takeaway: the barber shop was more than a haircut. It was a place a man belonged, where he was known. We have traded a great deal of that belonging for convenience, and I am not sure it was a fair trade. If you have a barber who knows your name, you hold on to him. That is worth more than the dollars. Number 7. A doctor's visit. Now here is one that will make you sit up. In 1955, a visit to the family doctor cost about $3 to $5. And often as not, the doctor came to you, climbed the stairs with his black bag, sat on the edge of the bed and tended your sick child by lamplight and charged you a few dollars for the house call. He knew your whole family. He had brought half of them into the world. Out of our 20, you could see the doctor and fill the prescription too. Today, well, you and I both know there is no use even putting today's number next to that one in plain dollars, because the whole arrangement changed so completely that the comparison hardly holds. A simple visit now, before anything else, can cost you more than that entire week of 1,000, 955 living we have been adding up. I will not make you any promises about your health or your bills. That is not my place. But I will say this. That generation leaned hard on prevention, on rest and good plain food and fresh air and not running to spend a dollar they did not have to. Some of that old common sense cost nothing at all, and it served them well. Number 8. The rent. Here is number 8, and it is a big one. In 1955, the average rent in this country ran around $70 a month. So, our single $20 bill covered better than a week of having a roof over your head, a week of shelter for one bill. And a working man in those days could cover a whole month's rent with about a week of his wages and still have plenty left over for everything else. Today, you know the numbers in your own town better than I do, and they are enough to take your breath. In most places, that 20 would not cover a single day under a roof, not close. The takeaway here is not a trick or a habit, because shelter is not a thing you can coupon your way out of. The takeaway is simply understanding. When folks tell you the old days were better, this is a great deal of what they mean. It was not that things were free. It was that a day of your honest work bought you so much more of a life. Hold that thought, because it is the very heart of where we are heading. Number 9. A toy for a child. In 1955, you could walk into the Five and Dime and put a real smile on a child's face for pocket change. A bag of marbles, a jump rope, a little tin car, a doll, a baseball, most of it for a quarter or 50 cents, the fanciest things in the store maybe $1 or $2. I can see that store as plain as day. The long wooden counters, the bins of penny candy under the glass, the wax lips and the licorice and the candy buttons on the paper strips, a clerk in an apron who would bag up a child's whole nickels worth one piece at a time with all the patience in the world. There were paper dolls and coloring books, a wall of model kits, a wind-up tin top that hummed when it spun. Out of our 20, you could fill a whole Christmas under the tree for several children. And those toys lasted, made of tin and wood and good hard rubber, passed down from one child to the next, played with till the paint wore off and then played with some more. Today you walk into the store and a single toy, the kind that needs batteries and breaks by New Year's, runs you $20, $30, $40, and your whole 20 might buy one of them. The takeaway, and this is one I hold dear, the children of 1955 were not made happy by the price of the toy. They were made happy by a ball and a field and a long summer evening, by a deck of cards at the kitchen table, by a story read aloud. The best things we ever gave our children never cost much at all. They never have, and they never will. Number 10. A long-distance telephone call and the postage stamp. In 1955, a first-class stamp cost 3 cents. 3 pennies carried a letter clear across the country, a real letter, written by hand, that someone held and read and tucked away in a drawer to keep. A long-distance phone call was dear, mind you, charged by the minute, so folks kept it short and sweet, or they wrote instead. And what a thing the telephone was then! It hung on the wall, or sat heavy and black on the hall table, and you dialed it with your finger in the little holes and waited for it to spin back around. Many a house was on a party line, sharing the wire with the neighbors, so you learned to be brief, and you learned not to listen in, though plenty did. When that long-distance call came through, the operator herself put it through, and the whole family would gather round because a call from far away meant something important, good news or bad, and everybody wanted to hear. A letter was the everyday way, written at the kitchen table, the news of the week set down in a careful hand, sealed up with a 3-cent stamp, and walked to the corner mailbox. Out of our 20, you could mail a whole year's worth of letters and Christmas cards and still have most of the bill. Today, the stamp alone is near $0.75, and hardly anybody writes at all. The takeaway: we can talk to anybody anywhere for nothing now instantly, and yet somehow we say less than we used to. A handwritten letter still costs almost nothing, and it means more today than it ever did, precisely because it has become so rare. Write one this week. It will outlast every text message you ever sent. Now hold on, because we are coming right up on it. The item I promised you, the one where the number falls so far it tells the whole story. But let me give you two more first, because they earn their place, and then we will get there together. And while we catch our breath between them, let me say this plainly, the way I would to a friend across the table: if you are still here with me this far down the list, then you are my kind of person, and I would be proud to have you along for good. Tap that subscribe button if you have not yet, so the next story finds its way to you. We keep the old wisdom alive here, one evening at a time, and it is a far better evening with you in it. Now, two more, and then the big one. Number 11. A day's work. Number 11 is not a thing you buy at all. It is the thing you traded the bill for in the first place. Your work, your time. In 1955, the minimum wage was $1 an hour, and a good steady working man earned somewhere around $70 or $80 a week, many a good deal more. So that single $20 bill we have been spending was about 2 days of a working man's pay, give or take. 2 days. And look at everything 2 days of work bought back then: a week of groceries, a tank of gas, a night at the pictures, the doctor, a good part of the rent. Now do the same honest math today. Figure up what 2 days of ordinary work brings home now, and then set it against everything we have just priced out: the groceries and the gas and the rent and the rest. The takeaway is the one I keep circling back to, because it is the truest thing on this whole list. It was never really about the price tags. It was about how far a single day of your work would carry you. And that, my friend, is the thing that has quietly shrunk, year after year, while we were all busy looking the other way. Number 12. And here it is, the one I told you to watch for all the way back at the start. A new automobile. Now stay with me, because this is the one that made me sit back in my chair. In 1955, a brand new car, a good solid family automobile right off the lot, cost somewhere around $1,800 to $2,000. Think about that against our $20 bill. That whole car was about 100 of those 20s. About one good year of a working man's wages bought a brand new automobile, free and clear, that he would keep and care for and drive for 10 or 15 years, and fix in his own driveway on a Saturday with a wrench and a manual. Now, today, a new car runs you, what, the better part of $50,000, and many far more than that. It is no longer about one bill or 100 bills. A new automobile today can cost more than a working family earns in a whole year, and folks pay it off over 6 and 7 years with interest piled on top, and the thing is so full of computers they cannot fix it themselves at all. That is the one. That is the number that fell the furthest. In 1955, a year of your work bought the car outright. Today, the car can cost more than the year. That single comparison, more than the bread or the gas or the rent, tells you the whole story of what happened to that $20 bill and to the day of work behind it. And that is why it lands so heavy. Not because a car costs more, we all expected that. It is that the distance between a day of your honest work and the things that day used to buy has stretched so wide, so quietly, that a whole automobile slipped right out of reach in a single lifetime. Your time, your work, your one precious day simply buys less of life than it did. That is the real list. That is what was folded up inside that one $20 bill all along. But I do not want to leave you heavy-hearted, because here is the part that matters most, and it is the part full of hope. That generation, the one that stretched to 20 across a whole week of living, did not do it by magic. They did it by habit, by care, by refusing to let a single dollar or a single hour slip carelessly through their fingers. And every one of those habits is still sitting right there, waiting for you to pick it back up. Shop to a list and buy ingredients, not products. Plan your driving and your meals together so nothing is wasted. Make eating out a treat, not a routine. Buy good things and mend them and keep them for years. Write the letter instead of buying the gift. Find the people who know your name and hold on to them. None of it is hard. All of it is honest. And every bit of it puts a little more of your day back into your own pocket, where it belongs. Because that generation knew a secret we are only just now remembering. A household is not made rich by how much it brings in. It is made rich by how little it lets slip away. They were the quiet masters of letting nothing slip away, not a dollar, not a scrap, not an hour, not an evening with the people they loved. And the wonderful thing, the thing I most want you to carry out of here tonight, is that we can be those masters again. The skill is not lost. It is just waiting, patient. The way that $20 bill once waited folded in a pocket, ready to be spent with care. You know, I have thought a good deal about that one $20 bill and about the hands that carried it. A man coming home Friday with his pay, counting it out on the kitchen table while his wife wrote up the week in pencil. The careful talk over what came first, the rent or the shoes, the doctor or the new coat. They did not have more than we have. In most every way they had far less. Less food, fewer comforts, smaller houses, harder work. And yet a day of that work bought them a kind of solid ground under their feet that so many folks today, with all our gadgets and all our abundance, can only wish for. That is the real arithmetic of the $20 bill. It was never just about the prices. It was about what a day of a person's life was worth, and that, more than anything, is the thing worth sitting with tonight. So here is what I would love from you. Down in the comments below, tell me this one thing. What is the best deal you can still remember? The price of something from when you were young that would make a young person today fall right out of their chair? The nickel cup of coffee, the 50-cent movie, the penny candy, the tank of gas that costs less than a sandwich does now. Share it, because somebody scrolling by needs to read it and smile, and together we can keep the memory of what a dollar once meant from slipping away for good. I read every single one, and I treasure them more than you know. And if you have enjoyed sitting with me and spending that old $20 bill twice over, if it brought back the smell of the diner or the sound of the gas station bell or the feel of a hard-earned bill in your hand, then do an old fellow a favor and subscribe so we can sit down together again real soon. Next time, I want to take you inside a 1,955 kitchen and show you the 10 things every household kept in the pantry, the cheap and humble staples that fed a family through any hard week the world could throw at them, the kind of quiet security money can hardly buy today. You will not want to miss it. So pour yourself one more cup, hold your people a little closer tonight, and remember that the richest things in this life were never the ones with a price tag on them at all. Take good care of yourself, and I will see you next time.